This is Talking My Walking. I am Rodrigo Ribeiro. I'm going to talk about the economics of that, usually capitalism and class society. As I said before, and then many people, it's not, and I'm not the expert on these subjects, but the point is not to be an expert. The point is to understand the consequences and the implications of a system. We have to understand the system where with which we have to comply with in order to be able to survive. And now the most unnatural conditions and practices can be naturalized and normalized to the point that we believe that first it has always been like that, and even if that is true, if their consequences are bad, why shouldn't we change it? Why shouldn't we think about that at least? That it has always been, that is part of the reciprocity economy. So I help you, you help me. Okay. If I go and help you, if a family helps another family to pick the olives or to the potatoes or whatever it is, therefore that family expects the other family to that family is in debt, okay, to that family, because it's going to when it will come the time, they expect the other family to pay the debt, okay. This was assumed in the communities where people would have. Sometimes you don't even need to talk about that. It doesn't need to be an agreement. It doesn't need to be written. It doesn't even need to be talked about. It's just because it's reasonable. Because it's part of our community works in order to keep its unity and to survive. Because there are, unless you have an economy based in money, in tokens, in something that is not part of the physical realm, but it influences and can change how the physical realm works, the physical and societal realm works. There is so many tasks that need the cooperation. Like if you go on a hunt, a group of men go on a hunt, they need to cooperate. They need to. I mean, cooperation. It has been the base of survival of human beings. Not competition. That's a lie. Competition, okay, competition is when competition is more like to happen between different groups, tribes, for competition for a territory. For example, if one wants to expand the territory, but the territory already belongs, it's already the habitat of another group, so it's probably can be a competition if they cannot agree. There might be even a war, a conflict that can happen. That has happened. That happens when the groups are not cannot agree But that is that in a inner group there was in the community and small indigenous groups there is no competition will always bring division, and that's how we start to use that not as a reciprocity part of the reciprocity economy, but we use that in order to have the upper hand on others. That some in our community figure out that they can start to have the upper hand if they make you in debt, if they put others in debt. So because it's a huge difference between the kind of debt that I owe you one and the kind of debt, monetized debt, that transforms us, that deprives us of our inherent rights as human beings, because we morally we become diminished beings by being in debt into others, and that has been proved and proved again by debt enslavement is not a figure of speech, is real. It has been real since long ago. That's why in early times that was not only that were cancelled by kings, but also that's why usury, interest, what is now known as interest, usury now it's most of us think of usury as high exploitative illegal interests that that can be even prohibited by law. But usury was the synonymous of interest, and it was prohibited. And it was even considered by the by the Catholic Church and the Christian Church as a sin, which is obvious. We just lost the plot. You know, we didn't lost it. It was imposed on us. It was naturalized that if you lend money, you should pay interest on that, because we can be convinced of anything, even if against our own interests, especially the many. We can be, and that is a huge problem. The lower classes, the working class, and even in the middle class, or especially the petty bourgeoisie and the lower middle class, can become accomplices of the exploitation that in the end affects their lives too. As long as then kids maybe live, like Steinbeck supposedly said, they are temporarily embarrassed millionaires. So this is I mean, we really need to think these issues through, because they affect our lives. When we allow, okay, money needs to be created to start with. Okay, money needs to be created by as we can use money. We can use a commodity as money. Okay, we can have a gold money, which is physical, something physical, but money itself, it doesn't belong. It is a creation. It is a product of our imagination. It doesn't exist in reality. And this needs to be understood in order to understand what money is and why money needs to be created. And money is not a thing. Money itself is not a thing. We can use things from the real world, pieces of paper, bars of gold, silver coins, shells, salt. I mean, we can use a lot. We can even use tally sticks, which was used in England for a long time, or clay tablets. Or money can be many things. We can use many things, physical things, as a representation of money. But money itself doesn't exist in the real world. I mean, in the material world. It belongs to the conceptual world. And this is, for me, it is a huge, because there is so many misconceptions about money. This is just to confuse us, honestly. Some say that the problem is the Fed, and others say the problem is the central banks. I mean, Fed is a central bank, of course. Others is this and that. I know it's. But no, the problem is money needs to be created by an institution. Who is in charge of creating the money and allocating it to whom, to which purpose, is the real. That is, who controls the creation of money, okay? And for what purpose? And why should money be that needs to be created? It doesn't exist. Because gold is not money. Gold can be used as money. Itself is not money. This is a lie. Those who say that only gold is money, they are lying. That is not true. It's a misconception. Nothing else is money. Salt is not money. Pieces of paper are not money. They are representations. They can be used. I mean, money, if money loses its value for some reason, due to inflation or the collapse of an economy or whatever, you can use it as toilet paper because it's just useless. That's why it's a representation. It's not money itself. So, who has the power to create the money? Who should have the power to create money? Why did we end up? Since long ago, it was already in private hands. The creation of money, it was already in private hands in the Roman Empire, during the Roman Empire. Why should we allow money to be created by private money? Again, try to understand, please. Money needs to be created. Money does not reproduce itself. That's what I'm trying to say. Following the steps of Aristotle. He was right about that for sure. Money does not reproduce. What produces things and reproduces is nature and labor and human labor. Living beings can reproduce, trees, animals, human beings can reproduce, and we can change and transform through labor natural resources into goods and services to satisfy our needs. That's not money. This is not money. It's just that we can, when we have a system that exploits labor and exploits nature in order to make profit, then you are creating wealth. But that wealth is only money because it is transformed into number, into a certain. It is a system of. It's when money is used as a system of accountancy, a system of account. That's another use of money. Okay, because there are the money is money is a medium of exchange. And it can be used as a storage of value, and that is where money becomes really creepy, because then that's where the problem real starts. When we believe that is acceptable, that we can accumulate unlimited amounts of monetary assets. Not only because wealth is one thing, but monetized wealth is another thing, which gives monetization is that it's an accounting system. But first, money needs to be created. You know, you cannot. You know, that's why banks. You know, many people already understand it, but there are still other people that do not understand that banks don't lend money. They don't lend their own money. The money is not the money they lend. The money that gets that you can see in your account. It is when you ask for a loan. That money was created out of thin air with a few strokes in a keyboard. Okay. By a dual accounting system, by having two different sheets to so, and that's how most money is created, by private banks. Many already are aware of this. That's why the system, the debt is always growing, because the system is based on debt, monetized debt. That's how it works. That's why investment, is always leveraged with a lot of debt. And that's why they buy the treasury bills, okay? And then they use the treasury bills as collateral to leverage their investments. It's part of the game. This is rigged. The rules of this game are rigged. Rigged against us. Why should we be accomplices of a system that in the end preys on us and enslaves us? Why should we accept that debt that used to be a part of a system, part of an economic system based on reciprocity, was transformed into a form of enslavement, into a form of crippling people, of making people feel worried all the time, because they might not be able to repay the debts. They might lose their assets, their houses, the cars, everything they believe they own, everything that we believe we own, while the only thing we really own, and they make sure that to keep it like that, is the debts, because it's a form of enslavement. It is the modern form of enslavement. There is several forms of enslavement. One is manufactured scarcity, and manufactured scarcity and austerity, politically motivated, transforms us into easy prey for that enslavement. So this is a problem to be faced. Because if we there are many people, especially in the financial world, the new people that make their money, their livings in the stock market and by the speculative means. They do not really. The ones that believe gold is the only real money, and so forth and so on. They are always they are very biased. Their opinions and their stories and the narratives they tell about money and about the financial system and banking system, some of them look like they are attacking the status quo, but they are not telling the truth about the system, because they believe in a. They don't want to. They do. They do not see money as what it should be, which should be the means, money as a means of exchange. That's what money should be, a means of exchange, and also a form that to pay the fiscal to pay our taxes, because as I said before, and that's what the MMT school tells us, modern money theory, modern monetary theory. Its money is a part of the fiscal system to destroy money. And by destroying money, what they mean is that the government and the state has the power to tax the money back in order to extract, to take the excessive money away from the real economy in order to avoid inflation. And the money, the state invests the money, the government invests the money in the economy in order to make the real economy work, and takes it back by taxing it in order to cool the economy. That's how when the story of that governments need to borrow money, in order to finance the economy. It's another lie. It's another misconception that they need the taxes. Okay, but because the money, the government, the state, that should be the only entity that with the power to create money or making it or using a network of public banks, or eventually not putting it in, I mean, I truly believe that we should abolish private banking, private financial institutions, insurances, and everything else. It should be a public function, and it would be better for all of us. Forget about the stories that the public sector doesn't function. This is not about being more or less efficient. This is about defending ourselves, because we all are the state. And money can be, I mean, if everything is privatized, everything becomes a commodity. Everything becomes based on a monetary value. And the ones who control the money, of course, they will they will have the control over who we will have the right to access the goods and services. It's not the market. There is no such a thing as a free market. It's a rigged market. Markets are always rigged. And you know why? Because as long as you have a class society, the upper classes, the top, at least the top 0.1%, or even, they will always have the power. They will always have the power to rig the system to favor them. So there cannot be, it is an impossibility to have a free market within a class system. That is just an impossibility. This is not about opinion. This is not a question of opinion. This is a question of common sense. Everywhere it has been like that since we have since we accepted. I mean, since we have been indoctrinated, trained, educated, trained to accept caste and class systems, societal systems, political systems, and economic systems. So, if you think, that's why this is, in my opinion, is not money itself, is money as a power, is money as part of the power system. It's not money itself, because money is a very useful tool as a means of exchange, and as part of the fiscal policy, and also as a form of accountancy, as an accounting system, not as a storage of value. We do not need money in that form of storage of value, because that immediately makes sure that some of us will become, for whatever reason, that will always create inequality, social inequality, and that will always create and generate unnecessary suffering, because then the wealthy will always want more and more, and that is part of the imperialistic civilization that we still have, that we need to confront ideologically, culturally. And if we do not understand these basic concepts, like if we cannot understand the evilness of the financial system, banking system, debt system, economic system, and the political economy that we have, and because it seems to work, because it seems that in some cases we can see that there has been progress, that the economies have developed under this system. You have the example of China and other examples that have developed under this system. That doesn't mean that the system by itself, that's just because we can use examples. We can that justify his existence. It doesn't mean that he's not perverse and dysfunctional. And in the long term, it will be the it will drive us. It will be our demise. This is one of the gates of Angkor Thom, the Bayon Temple complex, the outer walls of the Bayon Temple complex. So I'm going back to the gate. I walk from one gate to the other gate and then I go back, and that's what I'm going to do now, to go back to the gate where I have my motorbike waiting patiently for me. Okay, why did the church, the Catholic Church, gave in or into the usury, the interest in accepting interest, to pay interest? Wars, okay, imperialistic wars, you know, money control. I mean, this is almost unreal. This is almost unreal. How people can, how we, all of us, I mean, can accept the creation of money in the hands, the creation and control of money in the hands of private institutions and entities. Because this will always end in making the state dependent on private and enslaving us all, depending on private entities for funding public affairs. While these institutions, these private institutions, finance both sides, in many cases, both sides of the conflict, the enemies, so they will profit either way. I mean, this is. I mean, I don't even know what to say, because this is so perverse that I mean, by the time when money was mostly coinage, it was gold, silver, copper, bronze. But now, so somehow they needed to have some reserves. But you know, the banking system is a very interesting system, because you know, if the reserves, the so-called reserves, there is the need to have reserves. But the banking system is basically built on the assumption that the depositors, whoever they are, do not come all at once to ask for their money. Doesn't matter what kind of money. Digital money, banknotes, gold, silver, gold coins, silver coins, whatever kind of money money it is. The banking system developed under that assumption that you can lend out money in order that you can use the reserves. You can use, by the way, for those who don't know it yet, the money you have in your account, it's your money, of course, but you lended it to the illegally. You lended it to the bank, which means that the bank can use the money as if it's their money. This is legal. So you see the figures in your account, they are there. If you have $1,000, you can see the $1,000 there, and they are yours. They are yours as long as they are protected by law. Otherwise, as many of us, you can lose your money, especially when there is a run on the banks. That's always many people that won't be able to, because the money is not there. The figures in your account are there, but in the accounting it's not there. There are no reserves. There are no reserves, enough reserves to pay if everybody comes to ask for the money, because the money has been used by the banks to finance and to do whatever they please with it. So the banking system has been always based that we have the faith that our assets, that our savings are safe there. But they are not safe. They are only safe if there is no problems. Because if there is a failure in trust, because it's based on trust and faith, the money is not there. So it is in spite of this is so since the beginning we have allowed kings and the church have allowed this system to prosper and to become the power, because the power is exactly in money is power, and these institutions are the ones, the Pluto oligarchy is really the rulers, especially in Western countries. Not only in Western countries, but especially in Western countries. We are ruled by the plutoligarchy. So financial capitalism, which means the financial sector, the banking, financial, insurances, and the equity, for all this sector, the financial sector and the banking sector is a parasitic, they are parasites, they are rent seekers. They do not produce anything because money itself does not produce anything, okay? This is very hard to understand. Because we think, okay, we invest the money and then money is used to produce. Yes, money is the oil. It seems that it is productive, but money itself is not productive. It doesn't reproduce. It needs to be created. So that's why we have a financial system that is disconnected from the real economy, destroys the real economy, but is disconnected. But has the power to create wealth, and that wealth can be used, and that is the real problem. That we do not understand how evil this system is. How evil is a system that can use a thing which is not a thing because it doesn't exist in the physical realm, is a conceptual entity, but it can be used as a tool to control the real economy, the real assets, and even doesn't care anymore, doesn't even need anymore the real economy to produce wealth. It made the miracle happen, the miracle that the schemes, the financial schemes, so-called financial engineering, with using financial instruments, financial speculation, and all of that, which is only it's a game, it's a rigged game where wealth is produced out of nothing, that is productive because money itself doesn't produce anything that's useful for us. But they made the miracle of making money reproducing itself in this sense. That so and this wealth, that's again, that this fake wealth created with fake games in a rigged system is used to control the real world, to control politics, to control the real economy, to control entire countries, and for the benefit of the plutoligarchy. Through financial imperialism, which people talk about, but is not recognized. This form of imperialism is not it's more it's insidious. It weakens. It is used not to develop countries and economies, but to extract wealth, to make people poor, not to allow really development and sovereignty, because the Pluto oligarchy, the global Pluto oligarchy, does not want that countries have monetary sovereignty, financial sovereignty, nor any other form of sovereignty, political or economic. And most wars, invasions, coup d'etats, government overthrows, assassinations that are perpetrated by Wall Street, by the CIA and cutouts and other agencies and the military and death squads and what have you, is in the name of this financial empire. So this is I mean, this needs to be understood in a comprehensive way. I just want to, I mean, this is a very, in my opinion, this is crucial for the understanding. Not exactly, this is much more complex and much more, it has, I do not pretend that what I'm saying is, I mean, what I'm saying, what I'm trying to convey is true. It is easy to research, but the problem is not that. The problem is our understanding of it, because we are on the receiving end. We are the ones that have to suffer the consequences of such a horrible system. And these systems are protected by narratives that make us all accomplices, because most of us are for private property, most of us are for the unlimited accumulation of wealth. We don't see the evil in it, we don't see the evil in interest, so we want we think it's fair, because why should people not profit? No, this is a pack of concepts that are part of a narrative that make us all believe that all these tools that are used by power to control us, they are fair. Because they are not used only to control the poor countries, the so-called countries of the global south. They are also used to control us, to keep us in line, to make us work hard in order just to make ends meet, not to flourish, not to become more self-aware, not to become conscious of the roots of the problems, not to have more meaningful lives, to less work hours, to participate more in society, to have a healthy economy and a healthy society, and to work towards an ecological civilization, an ecological holistic civilization, not some sort of ecological civilization that is only based in transforming civilization, transforming nature and everything through technology. I mean, there is another misunderstanding of what an ecological civilization should look like. Because the ones that believe that we can transition to an ecological civilization simply through technofixism, they are also wrong. Technofixism is part of the problem. Technoscientism is a religion, is a cult. Science and technology have huge flaws. What we need is a culture of sufficiency. And all these problems, how we see that, how we believe interests are fair, but because we don't call them usury, and usury is only for avarice practices. You see, that's just a private creation of money. The idea that money is real wealth, when money is just a tool for control, is used as a tool for power and control. It's part of the power dynamics, and that the elites, that the Pluto oligarchy uses to control the rest of us. So the point is, we shouldn't. I mean, there is a. I have learned a lot with many different people about the monetary system, about money, about the economy, different visions and perspectives. But I don't. I try to not allow myself to. I mean, instead of buying into ideas that say, oh, the problem is the Federal Reserve. So if you focus yourself in the Federal Reserve, you can solve the problem. That is not true. Or the problem is the CBDCs. Okay? We must not allow the CBDCs because otherwise, if they can make the CBDCs obligatory, if they can implement the system, we will screwed. It is true, but it's not. It is true that we'll be that we'll have more control over us. That is absolutely true, but the CBDCs are not the problem. You know, and the same thing goes for many other the people focus in a single source of the problem, and the problem itself, it's the system we have. This system is called capitalism, by the way, but it's not only capitalism, it's the imperialistic is the imperialistic civilization, which is not exactly as capitalism is imperialist. It needs to expand. It needs to look for new markets. It needs to control other people's resources and territories. So it is expansionist. It is imperialistic. Let me see. Oh, it's okay. You can see them. The water buffaloes. I can see them. Oh, they come here also. Huh? I love them. They need to be. The water is very important for them. They need it, water and mud. They look healthy and nice. Okay, so is this also? Let me check again on them. You can see them. Okay, where are they? Okay. I like to see animals when they are free. Many times you only see them attached to ropes or very confined spaces. I'm running and playing. Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay. This is not how capitalism wants us. So there is a connection between imperialism, because the problem of debt, when of using the use of debts to enslave people, it's older than capitalism. And empires are older than capitalism. And so this I see the problem more as that's why I love the quote from Frederick Bastiat, the quote that I use as a kind of a law, which his original quote goes like that: when plunder becomes a way of life for a group of people together in society, through the course of time they will create a legal system to authorize them and a moral code to glorify them. So when we allow a group of people to tell you, oh, you can listen to them, I cannot see them, but I can listen them in the water. I cannot see them now because there is too many trees in between me and them. I don't know if the sound is recorded, but it's them walking through the water behind the trees. I use this quote very often because it is the way I see it is like that. When a group of people or a group of men together in society, or even a single man that is able to convince others that that they should follow him, or they should accept their that he is the one that has the truth, you know? So that may be given by God or some other, and then you must serve me, you must follow me, because I was told by God or whatever that our destiny is this and that. We have to conquer, we have to, whatever it is. So, and you can convince people to follow you and to accept the existence of groups organized in a hierarchical way, that some have the duty to work the land, to produce food. Others are warriors, okay, part of the warrior class, and another group is the scribes, the ones that keep the counting system. That's how money was created, as part of an accounting system, and that's how our writing was invented as well, as part of an accounting system. Characters, I mean, the cuneiform language was invented like that. Let me see if I see them. No, I can see the water there. You see the water? But they still they are eating probably. Like you can see the water. Okay, for another opportunity. So if they can convince, if a group of men or even a single man, a semi-god, a demi-god, or the representation of God on earth or whatever, that is supposed to be obeyed blindly. So in a generation or a few generations, you can have a system, a class system or a caste system that is supported by and justified by appropriated narratives, and then people are born into it, people are indoctrinated into it, people are instrumentalized, and the ones that do not want, that do believe that by themselves, find out that this is unfair, this is not, I don't think this is how it should be. What happens with them? Might be killed, enslaved, imprisoned, or whatever. So, and this is how easy it is to create a civilization, a system, an economic system, and a political system based on violence, hierarchy, just by making people believe and by having the means to enforce it with violence. So there is always the need to have to use fear in order to make people obey, especially for the ones that are rebellious and do not want to obey because they see that they are being mistreated, and they don't see why they should be considered less than others, or they why should be confined to work in a mine or in the fields from sunrise to sunset and have no rights, and their sons and daughters could not move to belong to the same caste as them. Now, and this is and then you have the system is solidified, is really then they can use that, okay, and other ways to further enslave people. And if you have a society, like in many cases, with so many divisions and subdivisions, instead of only really defined classes, but a system and a subsystem of castes and classes, you make people being focused not in unity, but in, okay, let's see if I can make it, if I can be a little, people competing for a little less suffering, no? So instead of making people being aware they are being exploited by the higher rankings of society, the top of the hierarchy, no, they are focused, they make people focused in being a little less worse, okay, I can, and it is still present today that we still compare ourselves uh, as okay, we are okay. I'm not well, but I'm at least I'm not doing as bad as my neighbor. Okay, this is a stupid way to compare. I mean, to make ourselves feel comfortable in our skin, to accept our fate, instead of being focused in understanding why should we, me and my neighbor and others that with whom I go to work every day, that we work so hard for so little, and we don't have any expectations that our lives can change, and we have to perform jobs and tasks that are meaningless because we need the money or because we are indebted, because we didn't have the money in first place to buy the stuff we need. I'm not talking about I'm talking about when people need to go into debt just to buy the basic stuff that is the basic stuff and comforts that we should have in our houses. If you live in a cold place, a very cold with long winters, you should have some sort of system to keep your house warm. You should afford to pay the electricity bill or to the gas bill to keep it comfortable. I mean, and we need a fridge. It's not because and a washing machine. We might need a car or not, but you might need a tractor if you have land to plow. You know, there are certain things that some people might, oh, okay, we could live without. That's true that we can live without that. But and if we want to do it, that's nothing wrong with that. If we want by our own volition to go without those appliances and comforts, it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. But as part of a society, you should have. It's like the internet. We do not really need internet to survive, I guess. But it is important now that internet exists. We should have access to internet because it's a main source of how we can connect to the world and how we can access information and knowledge that otherwise would be not accessible to most of us. And I know how much I learned since the internet was available in my country. It was a truly important source of knowledge. No? So we should have access to the internet. Free, yes, free, because certain things should be free and publicly owned. These Googles and Microsofts and these people haven't created anything. They have been by themselves. They exploit other people's intelligence in order to enrich themselves. That's what they do. That's their ability. That's Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Bill Gates' skills. That's what they do. That's how they work. That's how their minds work. So, all these subjects, all these issues we need to have a comprehensive understanding of them, a systemic understanding of them, of the interactions and interdependencies and all that goes together in order that we can have a better understanding of the reality where we have to operate, where we have to survive, and we could have much better lives because there are abundance, there are technical, there is the means, the technological means, and there is the money is not a problem because money can be created as much money. Money is never the problem. Money is only the problem because of who controls it and who and how, what people, what organizations and institutions can use it as power. That is what matters about money, not about money as being a means of exchange or being a tool that governments can use to develop the economies and societies and all the rest, and an accounting system, a part of the fiscal system, and an exchange tool for exchange, not to be used as a storage of value. That is where the sin comes, and that's where the interest and usury is also a sin. It should be illegal. That should be illegal, and we should understand it because it has more implications in our lives, negative implications in our lives, not in the lives of the wealthy, in our lives, than you can imagine. So that's the kind of message I have for today. Thanks for listening. I will be back soon.